Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to jump into game number 2 here pretty quickly. It's going to be Maru versus Deer. Let's get into introducing these players. Maru, he has changed his song as he has become famous a bit for this song.
Yeah.
And doing the dance of it.
And, you know, in 2015, he's 4-3, but Maru usually ends up hitting top tier players. We saw it in the playoffs, ended up hitting Dark. That was his demise. I mean, when you want to play against Maru, you usually send out some of your best players. You expect Maru to be on a certain map. So because he's so strong, his win ratio gets affected because they usually play their ace player on the map that they want to fight him on.
Yeah.
You can predict what map Maru is likely going to be on. You're probably going to send your strongest player you think has the best chance to beat Maru on him, because if you can beat Maru, that gets you in a good position. That's why, in my opinion, we see Deer on this map.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Deer, Maru is like a Protoss pummeler, I guess you can say. He is very, very strong against Protoss. Already 2-0 this season. Deer just very even all across the board.
This song is so appropriate for Deer, by the way. Like, he was actually on top of the world for a very brief period of time. He was. He came out of nowhere, was considered by far to be the best player in the world, and then suddenly fell off completely. And now Samsung picks him up, and he has to prove himself again.
Yeah. He stepped onto the team, and he was expected to win a bunch of games. He's only gone 50-50. I guess it's okay, but Samsung needs more, and they need a win from him right now against Maru. It's a big task to handle, but I think Deer's the only one on the team that could possibly do it. Let's jump into the game. It's Maru versus Deer. Up here in the top left, now changing their color to green, is Jin Air Green Wings, and it's Maru, their star Terran player.
See some of these Maru fan messages.
Ding, ding. Waiting.
Got a lot of signs, a lot of players. Actually, a lot for Pig Baby, even. Down to the bottom right in blue, it's Deer.
When's Pig Baby coming back, man?
I don't know, but
Where's
I
that
feel like, honestly, let's talk about Pig Baby for a second.
Give us the history from 2011.
He was a player I used to always joke about because I was like, I think the name he meant to choose was Piglet in this case.
Yeah, of course.
But this guy's been around since the very beginning of Kespa's transition to StarCraft 2, and was on Kespa's 8th team originally, along with TY and some others. Then moved to Jin Air with most of those Kespa's 8th players that didn't end up leaving the team, like Jaedong, for example, who went to EG. Then, at that point, he became one of the most famous cheesers that there was. He loved to proxy. He loved to proxy versus Zerg. He was like two-gate proxy in the Zerg players base on like Daybreak, for example. That was Pig Baby. Then he went to WCS America and did incredibly well over there. Now he's back. He's a great sniper player, a great cheeser when you're expecting somebody's on the map where you're like, okay, our team's going to really struggle against this player, and we need to use Pig Baby here, for example. But I feel like where Jin Air is at, they don't need a player like that right now in Pro League. They really just don't. They have solid lineups. They can play straight-up games. They've got 4 really good players that they can send out most times. The fourth slot is sometimes rotated, like we see Trap today, for example. They've got this sick lineup that just doesn't really need a snipe player, so that's why we don't see Pig Baby anymore, in my opinion. I think he's definitely somebody that they could use from time to time, but they don't rely on him and they don't need him right now.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see him in the future if one of these players drops into a slump. Try to get him in there, get him some more practice. He has shown his face from time to time, but maybe one day he'll come back and be a solid member of this lineup. We'll have to wait and see. So far, for both players, it's a very standard opening here. And we're going to go into our first-person view of round number 2.
Yes.
And it's here in the early game, as everybody loves to see these guys box their probes.
Well, what we do see is Deer hiding a probe to the top right. Now, I don't think this is going to necessarily be for a proxy. He is going to keep this probe at a hidden location for now. Could end up being a Stargate proxy later. Mothership is immediately sent towards this SCV, as the SCV is going to delay this gas, which is really annoying. And really good control here by Maru, in fact. Funny that we see the first-person view of both players, like how they micro this situation.
Oh, and he loses that SCV. That's not good.
Now this pylon gets placed here, which makes me feel more and more like we're not going to see a proxy. Because otherwise, as soon as that SCV died, he could have placed the pylon up at the top.
That's when that Reaper comes in and is like, okay, how many pylons do you got? 1, 2, 3, all right, we're okay. 1, 2, what? Something's up. But Reaper's just staying at home to deny scouting, in fact.
Yeah. Well, let's see what tech he decides to use after all. It wouldn't be crazy if Deer just made a robotics and like
I think
made
that's what
two gates and played standard and got a forge up a little bit later.
I guess we could see Blink. This is a very good map for Blink. You know, you don't have to go all in with it, but of course you can go for some pressure with that, of course. We see some players, especially Hero, loving to do Blink into robotics, like put on the pressure and then just get that normal transition a bit later. You also have the Blink to stop drops and stuff like this, so it's a very interesting build that we see sometimes. This probe is still here. Finally, we see the pylon come down.
What do you think that's going to be for?
Proxy Robotics Bay.
I think that there's a chance, in all seriousness.
You just like totally ignore me.
I think there's a chance, in all seriousness, we see 4 Zealots get warped in there and they get picked up by the Warp Prism. That might come out here in a second. No,
Stargate.
It's a Stargate. It's a lot of tech off of just 2 gas. This is a...
Well, this is going to be an unexpected, of course. I mean, Reaper's going to come in if it gets in. And even just seeing the 2 Stalkers is like, okay, whatever, it's just normal. You know, I have no reason to expect otherwise.
We know that Maru is weak to DT drops. We've seen him die to DT drops a lot. And that's something that I was thinking maybe we could end up maybe seeing. But Stargate, I don't really expect. We even saw, I think, like Rain try to use DT drops against Maru in the GSL recently.
Yeah.
I guess this is going to be a delayed Oracle, right?
Yeah, it's just got to be delayed Oracle. It's just going to come in at a timing that they're not going to expect.
Maybe he's hoping to do it right when Maru moves out the pressure.
Yeah, there it is. Oracle coming out. Reaper, it's moving around the map. It hasn't gone there. The proxy is in a very good location. It's close, but it's not obvious. And the Reaper right now is just trying to get a scout of the main base. He wants to identify the fact that, in fact, there is a robotics facility coming down. He may be like, okay, no forges, no robotics bay. Where's all your gas going?
Yeah.
Where's it going? You've got 4 gases. I know this.
He also knows that Robo's not active, and it wasn't moving. He has nothing in the main base, not even an eBay finished yet, and this is going to do a lot of damage. Delays the Stargate, or the Starport first. 2, 3, 4, 5,
oh, baby.
6 kills. 7.
One of our most recent 10 questions, 10 answers, Terrans, was saying that the Oracle was a bit OP, and it does go down after getting 7 kills, but there is a second one coming in here.
Turret's finished, though.
Yeah, and the Marines are in position. Maybe able to... No, too many Marines.
Stim's almost done, too. He's got to be careful. He actually probably gonna... Oh.
Ooh, that was nice. Into the bunker, give him extra range.
Yeah. That was scary. I don't know if this is worth it. 7 kills is a lot of kills, but he lost the first Oracle, and now the second one is not going to be able to do anything for a long time, and Stargate's just going to get killed here. At least the pylon, at the very least. That was pretty expensive.
Just cuts into the economy of the Terran. Like, 7 SCVs is actually a lot. I mean, it still is a Terran, so mules are going to keep him afloat, and he will be fine.
You know what? I take it back. I think this is definitely worth it because now Maru has to keep his units at home as well, so he can't pressure. This allows him to get his +1 armor, his blink, and his robotics bay up without really making a lot of gateway units to defend.
Yeah.
While he's also got his probe count up pretty high now at 52.
Had he, like, flown that second Oracle in and just lost it, it might have been on that edge where you're just like, oh, I don't think this was worth it. It was actually maybe not. You know, you might be questioning it, but the fact that this is still alive is just so annoying.
Yeah, I take it back. I think this is actually well worth it. In fact,
I've got to retarget it, though.
I, like, really take it back. I'm like, this is absolutely worth it. Yeah, it does finally target that. Forces a small stim there, too, which is kind of annoying. Here comes that first move out from Maru. Maru really known for having quite good control.
You see the timing on that? The third bases came down at exactly the same time.
10:27, man. They planned it. So like at 10:27, we make the Nexus and the CC at the same time. Ooh! Good control here by Deer. Very nicely done.
Yeah, keeps it
he
alive.
May tag these
so
medevacs?
annoying.
Oh, he doesn't have enough energy.
Oh, man. Still alive. And more stims. It's just so annoying for Maru. It's delaying the push even more.
Yeah. It's already got a Colossus out, a second one soon to follow. A ton of Stalkers with Blink. I think Maru needs to be very careful with how he proceeds here.
Blink has been completed here by Deer.
Yeah.
In fact, while he was getting all of this out here, he is going to finally lose that Oracle, but that puny Terran army here is not enough against this. In fact, a huge Blink forward. He's going to go straight for the Medivacs.
I think this is a good choice. Even though he loses some Stalkers for it, it's going to force multiple stems. He can just continue to chase.
Yeah, he's going to get more and more kills here. There's a lot of Medivacs, or rather, Marines and Marauders going down.
This is terrible for Maru. Now the third base is done. Colossus range is done.
Oh,
third
no.
Colossus is about to come out.
Maru's going down. Deer's looking primed. He's doing really well in this game.
He shut down the harass. He has nothing to worry about right now.
Yeah.
And he could just spend all of his chrono energy on his forge and his Colossi. And his probe count's already ahead. Mothership core is just chilling. Plenty of energy. Didn't even have to use that for that fight at all. Didn't have to use either Nexus cannons or the time warp to make that happen.
Yeah, the Mothership scorer's got to have like 200 energy right now.
Yeah.
Moving across the map here is Maru. He's got a pretty sizable force at this time, but then again, there are 3 Colossi, and there's no Vikings in this mix, so...
We've seen Maru on this very map do so well with his Marauders. He loves playing on this map.
Not in this position. He's like so far behind right now.
This one Zealot, by the way, finds his way over here without any defense.
He's getting kills. He's going to get that Mule, in fact. That has a lot of time on that guy. This Zealot is more than paid for itself.
Yep. Stops this drop from doing anything.
Look at how much mining time that delayed. He pulled every single SCV and Mule off of that third base for like 10 seconds.
Charge is going to finish. He's going to have 1-1. Might even want to add a second Forge if he hasn't done that just yet.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Maru's multitasking, failing him a bit here too. He's had to use now 2 call down supplies, which is annoying because he just lost Mule time and a Mule. Like, everything is just starting to...
Yeah, he's got no Mules going right now.
Starting to take a toll on him, right? You know? Okay, well, he's got a huge force over here to the left and a big drop coming. This is his opportunity to do damage. Let's see how Deer responds. Scan comes down. There's 3 Colossi here and a cannon, though. 2 cannons make that. 3
He's going to drop right onto the Colossi, though, and those Colossi have no support right now. He's going to be able to easily focus those down. He gets 1, he gets 2, and that third one is so low, he just barely misses it.
Yep. Third base is under fire as well, but there's another few Colossi over here. I mean, this is like how ahead Deer is. Even if his Colossi get sniped, he's like still like, I'm fine. I mean, I guess you could say they got sniped, but at the same time, like, Maru had to trade a lot of units for that, too. Units he doesn't have to trade easily. And
I think that was definitely still a good trade. Like, you can't lose these Medivacs, though. That's not a good trade, of course. Now Maru's got to get out there, and he's actually going to lose this other Medivac, too.
Yep. Blink forward will easily kill it.
So he has to drop out. And there we go. Losing all these units in the Medivacs.
Small victories like killing those Colossi mean a lot if you can get away for free, but if you end up losing basically 2 whole small groups of armies for it, it's like, well, he has Storm now anyways, and he's continuing his upgrades. And
Maru knows he's really behind. He's trying to be scrappy and just take these fights that he's known for doing, like sniping Colossi like this, but he's got no Vikings. And there's Storm on the map now as well. There's a ton of gateways here. Huge drop in the main. These charge lots of 1-1 are doing a lot of damage. Widowmine hits are good, though.
He's chasing a Medivac fleet away. Do you remember the game Maru versus Jim, where we saw him come back in a situation like this?
Oh, yeah.
Deer is not Jim, man. Oh, God, that Warbism is so dead. He has a ton of Medivacs over there, but they're not really full. And Deer knows that. Yeah, he knows they're not full.
There's no answer for all these Storms, actually. There's just not enough here for Maru. He's got 9 Medivacs, but who cares? Like,
all right. This is, Maru's last chance, I guess you could say. Storm's going to go down here, and this is going to kill the rest of this army. Maru has that force still at the natural, but reinforcement should be able to eventually ward it away.
4 High Templar there. Not enough energy for Storm just yet, but close.
Storm goes down on those Widow Mines. He's able to identify where they are. There's a huge Widow Mine field right up there. I don't think he sees it, but I just don't think it matters, quite frankly. Deer is going to take this win and tie it up.
Pretty crazy, man. We weren't expecting it. GG. I said it before, if there was one man for the job on Samsung, it was Deer. And he came to the task. He actually won the game.
You and I both said it, man. We said, this is the map Maru comes on all the time. He loves playing on this map. They pick. We said this earlier too. It's like a bunch of players on this team that are kind of like, okay, they're not as good as Maru, but they come out on the map where they prepare one game and take the win. Deer's the guy. He's the guy they need here to take this win. He did it. And that's a huge moral victory among all else for Samsung going into this right now. And they tie it up. They've got to be happy here. All smiles.
Oh, yeah. Some of those because of the win, some of those because of the awkward way that Deer did not high-five the coach and kind of walked away. It was very awkward. It was funny, though. You missed it, Wolf.
I missed it. I'm so sorry.
Jenner, they've got to regroup here. Maru, pretty much their best player. And going down here, they're going to have to rely on SOS and Rogue, two more strong players in their lineup to take a couple victories. Yep. Maru just not having a great game.
No, that was... It just... The Oracle did too much damage. It was caught really off guard, but like the plan worked. The strat worked. The build worked. He got so much space with that. Like, he bought so much space for himself. Like, he kept Maru back, and he had the time and the chrono energy and everything else to get his probe count up while chrono boosting his forge upgrades while getting his Colossi without making any gateway units because his Oracles kept Maru back.
This is what you can do sometimes as a Protoss. You can, or other races as well, just... there's a certain meta in mind for your opponent, and he's like, okay, the Protoss is almost definitely 95% of the time just going to make robotics facilities, upgrades, Colossi. He might go blank into Colossi, but he's going to eventually do that. And Deer was like, okay, I know exactly what Maru's expecting. Let me throw a wrench in and see if I can fake him out. And he did. It worked. Yeah. And that's pretty much what won him the game. He, of course, finished out the game from there, but that was like the thing that won him the game.
For sure. Well, guys, we are going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back. See you then.